I'm very fortunate that I actually knew that I wanted to be specifically a physician from really as long as I can possibly remember. Never forgotten how fortunate I was to know with such deep certainty that that was what I wanted to do. I actually decided I wanted to be a physician and a marine biologist. Everyone used to say, you can't do both, you have to pick one, which I never understood, and then subsequently I did both. And I actually had no idea, that I was going to end up going overseas. I was actually applying to medical schools only in the US. Fortuitously, AMCAS, the system, for applying in the US, failed to submit my application to any of the schools I had selected. I'd heard about, the College of Surgeons through a friend of my dad's, who was a physician who worked with some folks from RCSI. And I had never traveled outside the U.S. before. I worked in the summers. I worked on the fishing boats, and I worked in marine science labs. I remember this really well. He said, you're going to learn, really excellent clinical medicine. You're going to be with an amazing group of people from all over the world, who are accomplished and will really push you to excel. It will give you an invaluable context for, the global nature of medicine and different ways that medicine can be practiced, not just in Ireland, but in all the countries that your classmates will come from. He said, go, definitely go if you can go. And so I applied to RCSI, and I got my acceptance from RCSI. So I arrived, I didn't have a place to live, I didn't know anybody, and that did not last long. I mean, my classmates were extraordinary. Really high achieving group of people, and it's always good to learn alongside a group of high achievers because it really drives you to try and excel. Even the idea for floating doctors really initiated the innocent suggestion of one of my classmates. And of course my background probably played a big role into why it's the floating doctors. Working on the commercial fishing boats, in marine biology and marine science, year after year after year, that's what I know. 80% of the world's population lives within 5 miles of the coast. And I was like, all right, I think I have a plan. We're going to try and use water to visit all of these communities that can't be visited really any other way, and provide medical services. So I came home and I started knocking on doors. And by early 2010, a few weeks after the devastating 2010 earthquake in Haiti, our ship was ready and loaded with supplies and fully fueled. And we had not 1 cent to our name, no personal money, nothing. And we sailed for Haiti and never looked back. And we wanted to design a program that would be able to provide regular service over very large areas. And so at the moment, in our location in Panama, our work area is it's close to 9,000, 10,000 square miles. It's very large with only one road, mostly without power, without water, without any basic infrastructure. And we visit them all in rotation. Visiting them all every 3 months, we can provide longitudinal care. It's like practicing a blend of 19th century and 21st century medicine. You go out in the rain to someone's house out in the jungle or the forest, and you're there and you take care of whatever you can take care of on site. You might be there for hours. You've got your black bag. Of course, out of your black bag comes portable ultrasound and 21st century technology. And so it's a kind of medicine where we really get to combine the best of that old type of medicine where doctors had all the time they wanted with patients, and where there wasn't so much fragmentation of care, with, of course, some of the best medical powers, of the 21st century. I mean, just the number of doctors who have done their very first house call with us, and what they take away from that. I mean, it's invaluable, to have those kinds of experiences. It makes you a much better physician, no matter how good you were to start. If our volunteers don't go home better physicians or better practitioners and better people, then we've failed. And we want them to carry the skills that they've learned home with them so that the patient outcomes where they are at home are better. The younger residents, especially from some countries, the most common thing that they'll say is, thank you for making me feel like a real doctor for the first time. And others, older, especially much older physicians, old school, GP will sometimes say, thank you for making me feel like a real doctor again. It is not easy. It is not easy, that's for sure. I always kind of characterize this career as by far, it's the hardest possible type of medicine career I can possibly imagine. And I wouldn't change places with anything in the world for anything, because the kind of the relevance of all the stuff I get to do really makes me forget sometimes about what the sheer volume of the workload really is like. My long-term vision for floating doctors and kind of for myself has not really changed since day one. But now it sounds a lot less crazy than when I said it, day one before we'd done anything. And people will sometimes look at it and go, wow, like, look what you guys have put together. It's so amazing. But when I look at that, I really go, man, we're just getting warmed up. I don't even know how to characterize really like what this award means. I'm still, weeks later, I'm still astonished. And especially for the Humanitarian and Community Award, where like a lot of RCSI folks have contributed a lot to the world. I couldn't be more humbled and proud at the same time.